At the beginning of the 20th century, Russia was on the brink of a profound transformation. The empire, led by Tsar Nicholas II, faced a growing wave of dissatisfaction. Ruling with absolute power, Nicholas was increasingly disconnected from the reality his people were living. Hunger, poverty, and social injustice were constant for millions of peasants, while the aristocracy lived in luxury and privilege. The situation worsened with Russia's disastrous entry into World War I, leading to humiliating defeats and a massive loss of life. Confidence in the Tsar, already shaken, completely collapsed. Uprisings broke out in several cities, and support for the imperial regime quickly weakened. In 1917, after a series of protests and political pressures, Nicholas II was forced to abdicate the throne. This ended a dynasty of over 300 years. Nicholas, his wife Alexandra, and their 5 children were placed under house arrest. The revolution was underway, and the fate of the Romanov family became increasingly uncertain. Uncertainty loomed not only over Russia, but also over the future of the family that had, until then, ruled the empire with an iron fist. After Nicholas II's abdication, the Romanov family was transferred to the city of Tobolsk, where they remained under strict house arrest. Life in confinement, although relatively peaceful at first, soon proved to be full of tensions and uncertainties. The hope for a possible escape or international exile persisted, with rumors circulating that monarchist allies were working to rescue the family. As the Bolsheviks consolidated their power, the Russian Revolution took a more violent turn. With the rise of more radical revolutionaries, the promises of a safe transfer began to seem illusory. By mid-1918, the situation worsened when the Romanovs were removed from Tobolsk and taken to the Ipatiev house in Yekaterinburg. There, surrounded by armed guards, the family lived in a constant state of fear. Conditions progressively worsened. The hope for a peaceful resolution faded with each passing day, while outside news was scarce. Despite the apparent calm within the walls of the house, the family's fate had already been sealed by the new Soviet rulers. The promises of a transfer to another country were nothing more than empty words, while the regime secretly prepared the Romanovs' tragic end. That night in Yekaterinburg would forever be remembered as one of the darkest events in history. In the basement of the Ipatiev house, the Romanov family waited, under the orders of their captors, for a supposed transfer. It was July 17, 1918, and after months of confinement, they believed they were being moved to a safer place, perhaps even the beginning of an exile. Shortly before midnight, Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, their 4 daughters, Olga, Tatiana, Maria, and Anastasia, and young Alexei, were abruptly awakened and led to the basement, along with the servants who accompanied them. There was a strange atmosphere in the air, but they followed the instructions, perhaps still clinging to the hope of a reversal in their fate. When they arrived, they were arranged in a small, dimly lit room. Suddenly, Bolshevik soldiers, led by Yakov Yurovsky, entered the room. In a brief statement, the verdict was read: the execution of the imperial family. Without time to react, the firing squad opened fire. The execution was brutal, with the Romanovs and their servants being repeatedly shot. Chaos erupted when bullets ricocheted off the bodies of the young princesses, who were wearing jewel-lined corsets in an attempt to hide their most precious possessions. In a matter of minutes, the execution had claimed the lives of Russia's last imperial family. The bodies were then taken to be secretly buried in an effort to erase any trace of their existence. Shortly after the execution, rumors began to surface that one of Nicholas II's daughters had survived the brutal massacre. Among the stories that circulated, the most persistent was that Anastasia, the youngest daughter, had miraculously escaped. This theory gained momentum, fueled by the initial absence of her remains among the bodies found. The uncertainty surrounding the fate of Grand Duchess Anastasia sparked a wave of speculation. Witnesses claimed to have seen a young woman escape the scene at different times, asserting that she had been rescued by sympathizers of the Tsarist regime. These accounts, combined with the difficulty of identifying the bodies found at the execution site, created a mystery that lingered for decades. The Bolshevik authorities did everything they could to conceal the real fate of the Romanovs, burying the bodies in an unmarked grave and avoiding widespread dissemination of the details of the murder. This further fueled conspiracy theories, particularly regarding Anastasia's possible fate. The mystery took on global proportions, with the Western press amplifying speculations about the young princess's survival. The idea that Anastasia might still be alive captured the imagination of many, and her story became a symbol of hope amid the chaos of the Russian Revolution. However, as the myth of Anastasia grew, the truth remained uncertain and shrouded in mystery. In the decades following the Romanov execution, several women came forward claiming to be Grand Duchess Anastasia. Among the most famous was Anna Anderson, a woman who appeared in Germany in 1920, asserting that she was the missing princess. Anderson maintained her claim for years, becoming the most well-known of the supposed Anastasias. Her story fascinated the public, especially after she described the life at the imperial court in detail and recounted events that some believed only the real Anastasia could have known. The Western media quickly embraced Anna Anderson's story, portraying her as the possible survivor of the massacre. Her identity became the subject of intense debate among experts, historians, and surviving members of the Romanov family. While many dismissed her as an imposter, others were convinced that she could indeed be Anastasia. Anderson spent years trying to validate her identity in courts and in the public eye, maintaining her claim or her truth until her death in 1984. Besides Anderson, other women around the world made similar claims, each with varying degrees of credibility. With each new account, the legend of Anastasia grew stronger. Even with little evidence, the idea that the young princess might have survived continued to captivate millions. These claims prolonged the mystery and kept the question alive, turning Anastasia's true identity into one of the greatest historical enigmas of the 20th century. In the 1990s, more than 7 decades after the Romanov family's assassination, their remains were finally discovered in a forest near Yekaterinburg. A team of Russian and international scientists, using archaeological techniques and forensic examinations, identified the bones as belonging to Tsar Nicholas II's family. The discovery not only unearthed the bodies, but also reopened the historical and emotional wounds that still marked Russia. However, a new mystery quickly emerged. 2 bodies were missing. The remains of Anastasia and her younger brother Alexei were not found among those recovered. This fueled renewed speculation that at least one of them might have escaped the massacre. Even as advanced scientific analysis confirmed the identities of the family members, the absence of these 2 bodies kept the myth of Anastasia's survival alive. The discovery reignited global interest in the Romanov story, and new efforts were launched to find the missing remains. The public continued to yearn for definitive answers and for confirmation that the enduring mystery would finally be solved. In 2007, a new discovery put an end to decades of speculation. Another set of bones was found near the original Romanov burial site, and DNA tests were immediately conducted. The results were clear and definitive. The remains belonged to the 2 missing members of the imperial family, Anastasia and Alexei. With this, science finally seemed to have solved the long-standing mystery that had captivated the world. DNA tests, carried out by international laboratories, confirmed beyond a shadow of a doubt that the bones belonged to Nicholas II and Alexandra's youngest children. This confirmation put an end to the theories suggesting that Anastasia might have survived the execution. The claims of women like Anna Anderson, who had spent years asserting that they were the lost princess, were conclusively disproven. Though science had uncovered the truth, the revelation did not entirely erase the aura of mystery surrounding the Romanov story. The announcement of the results was met with sadness by those who, for decades, had believed in the possibility of Anastasia's survival. However, for historians and scientists, the discovery marked the closing of the final chapter in one of modern history's greatest enigmas. Even with science confirming Anastasia's death, the legend of the Grand Duchess continues to captivate generations. Her story has become part of popular imagination, transcending the boundaries of reality. Films, books, and even musicals have been inspired by the figure of the lost princess, perpetuating the mystery of her possible survival. The tragedy of the Romanovs, combined with the aura of hope and mystery surrounding Anastasia, turned her into a cultural icon. The world seemed unwilling to let go of the idea that the young princess had escaped, as if her survival could somehow redeem the brutality of the events that marked the end of the Russian monarchy. Anastasia's story, with its twists and myths, continues to inspire audiences, proving that some mysteries, even when solved, never fully disappear. In the end, Anastasia became more than just a lost princess, she became a legend. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Also, feel free to check out more videos on the channel. Your support really means a lot.